This is the second part presentation of the mathematics group, and this is the part 4 and to the part 7. This is the refined learning and assessment tools for our group. So the first part, of course, learning the assessment to learning and to teaching and learning. So about the corresponding assessment, this is the intended. We are trying to correspond the assessment to the intended learning outcome. So this is the pretest is to try to have check students' understanding of and knowledge of previous lesson. Is about the qualitative domain and the skill domain. About the skill below here is about the EDB generic skills that they would like students to have. About the group activities, the purpose is here uh, is about the cognitive skills and affective domain, which indicate here, and also the EDB requires generic skills here. It's more about the communication and collaboration, also the problem solving in the group activities. About the individual activities, same thing. This is the purpose. There's the qualitative and skills and also affective domain for for the first 3 lessons, and the generic skills that EDB requires is listed below. In this, we are trying to focus on creativity, IT, and also critical thinking. About the self-learning activities, we are trying to use a flipped classroom worksheet to have them have self-management and also self-learning. Is corresponding to the cognitive domain and skills domain in the 4th lesson. So about the protest, of course there is protest. This is a chapter test. It's trying to check students' learning and progress to estimate teacher effectiveness, and is more concerning about the cognitive domain and skills domain, which listed in below on the right. And also about the skills that the EDB requires, we are focusing the mathematical skills and also problem solving in this test. Okay, so to conclude, there is two set of assessment. We have used formative assessment and the summative assessment. Most of the tools all of the tools that we have used, we have listed here, and which grouped it into a big group. About the multidimensional principle, we have used this list of assessment form. So I don't talk about in details here. So about the marking scheme is because mathematic questions, we suggest there are multiple ways to solve a similar questions. So we would give a solution for reference for the students that such that they can try to understand what what we are doing, and also they can apply when they would like to. But also we give some free rooms for the students that so we separate the marking and the steps. Uh, it is not up there because we are trying to give freedom and also let them have critical thinking, also problem solving abilities instead of just copying the marking schemes. Of course, detailed feedback is needed, but it should be based on the performance that the students actually answering the questions instead of those filtering and general feedbacks that listed in a 3 tier. in some kind of paper. So about the tiered reference list is trying to let the students easy to read and have a very concrete action to follow. So we design this kind of reference list such that they can understand very easy uh, that's where they are at and what they should aim and what action can be followed. We are trying to use encourage words instead of negativities, so they are more persuade to be uh, improve instead of just staying at where they at. Uh, so again, the detailed feedback should be stated in the specific homework instead of just a tier list, because if that cannot be very positive and uh, good for the students. So about the assessment theories related to the learning activities assessment method, uh, of course, assessment of learning, assessment for learning, assessment as learning. So objectives is here about the properties and also the timing and what we have used in to achieve this kind of theories, which listed on the right. So emphasis of the formative assessment, of course. We are following a very constructive timeline for P-test, topic 1.1, topic 1.2, topic 1.3, topic 1.4, and also after the whole topic, we have a protest. So each of the topic we will provide different kinds of assessment, which following a similar pattern, but we provide different kinds of activities for the students. So of course, we have to cater the learning activity diversity, so we provide scaffolding. In every worksheet, we will provide a easy level question, medium level question, and also harder questions. Although that being said, the easier level questions have a much more detailed graph that we point up each of the points for the students. The second one is less detailed graph. They have to observe the graph, and then the last one we don't provide graph. With this kind of design, the students can understand where even there's no graph, they can actually plot a graph for themselves to for their own reference. Uh, so teachers can also provide scaffolding during the lesson. We can provide constructive feedbacks, indicate common mistakes, and also review the reason behind some important steps why we have to use this kind of method. So about our group activities, these of course are student-centered activities. Each group expect to have a higher achiever, but it is best for teacher to group students before the class. One, because limited lesson time. Two, we hope that they will become learning groups themselves. So this kind of activities also allow students to provide help, uh, feedbacks, and also constructive criticize to peers to help each other to improve. Teachers can provide help when group seems to struggle and provide feedbacks after the activities. So about the individual learning activities, we are trying to provide alternate ways for students to gain confidence in mathematics and also the knowledge about the current topic. We are trying to give additional learning experience and also opportunity outside the classroom. The teachers can see whether the students actually understand the knowledge and able to apply it in algebra program, for example, such that they can provide even more feedbacks regarding the knowledge and also the application. So of course, there will be some students are not quite understand what we are actually talking about. So there is a detailed and clear explanation of the theorems, and also we at the last lesson after the test we provide detailed notes of this curriculum for them to understand, and also easy to review at any time anywhere. Coming to the 4.3 is first, of course, diagnostic assessment. We separated into three different parts: pre-test, mid-class assessment, and post-test, which we aimed to check students' peer knowledge, the current understanding, and also their progress. Of course, for the teachers, we are trying to determine the lesson approach and also the follow-up question based on this kind of assessment. About the self-evaluation and peer evaluation form, we are trying to let students review their own learning, and teachers can also provide feedbacks accordingly and change the teaching plan, of course. And for the EDB skills, we are trying to let them have a self-management skills and or even self-learning skills. So about the reflection of the effectiveness of the refined SPA implementation, the original package in learning objectives and also feedbacks there is actually not quite sufficient to write learning objectives and also not even giving a feedback. So we refined the package to follow the EV guidelines and also is much more well planned with very accessible keywords in the learning objectives. The feedback part, so we are trying to give a constructive feedback, and we have a tier list and also marking scheme for students to reference to it. About the assessment tools, the original one, of course, there's none, so we give them one. The review assessment rubric, there is no marking scheme and also no score reference table, so we provide one in the refined package. About the development mode, original is more concerned about the key learning textbook knowledge without extra learning, without extra training. So of course we fill that hole in, so provide extra activities and all-rounded activities for the students. 5.2. About the assessment method, the original package is more concerned about the formative assessment. So we are trying to use also the summative assessment to understand the progress of the students. Task design. There's no pre-test, there's no protest for the students. There's only asking. Okay, that is not enough. So in the refined package, we have an all-rounded assessment for the students to well understand the students' needs and also where they don't understand. About the evaluation rubrics, of course, the original one have none, so we try to add more for the students. So about the stakeholders, original package did not consider the students, did not have very much interaction with the teachers, and do not have a trace back for the students. So we added those inside. So we give them homeworks, which is traceable, worksheet, which is traceable, the individual activities which is traceable. So that is a learning journey that they can carry with. So at the end, reflection. The original one is have so many difficulties and misunderstanding. So we provide different pens to cover those misunderstanding and also lack of uh, aims or assessments. So we are trying to give a rich and divided pedagogy instead of the original, general, and monotonous pedagogies. Of course, we are trying to even use a flipped classroom mode for the students to see whether they are learning uh, to help them develop more their self-learning skills. Original package, lack of feedbacks, and also marking rubrics. So in the defined package, we add them in, and of course, on top of that, we provide freedom for the students to explore even further in the topic. So the principle, the original one, have only three done, and we find that we try to fulfill every single principle. We have all-rounded activities to support activities and also assessment to support this kind of principles. At last, we are the refined teaching plan is based on the EDB, of course, but also considering students' interest and also ability. The teaching objectives are comprehensive, need to be carefully construct and also complete. The activities we have designed based on the attentive principles for marking assessment effective, to making the assessment effective, aimed to let students think and understand the concept instead of just mathematical skills. The assessment tools are rich and varied for students to explore alongside with their self-assessment and also peer assessment. The assessment tools are effective for the teachers to assess the learning progress of students and provide constructive feedback based on the performance and evaluation. So all in all, very effective and detailed assessment is a good thing for the teacher, for the students, and also for the school. So this is all for the part 4 to part 7, and the following is our reference. Thank you.